Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Yoga Church Digital with Karen Hughes. We're so grateful for everybody who joins us each week and just have this time to pause and rest and pray together and meditate. And we're so grateful for each of you that will join later that may not be able to come on the live, but you'll watch through YouTube or Facebook, joining with us later. We do encourage you, just post in the comments before we get started here, how you're feeling this morning, your name, where you are. We love to know about you and where you are. Good morning, Alicia. Doing well this morning. Welcome. And so we're getting ready to start into our practice. And in just a couple weeks, we'll have what we're calling conversations with a difference. And so another thing we invite you to do is if you have something you want to talk about, a spiritual practice, some exploration, a question about yoga, a question about spirituality in general, we're going to create a Zoom room for those of us who normally participate in Yoga Church, and we will gather together in that Zoom room and just have a conversation about things that are going on in the world. So we'll send you more details about that as we go along. I wanted to briefly share a little devotional from the Christian scriptures. Karen and I are both Christians, but you don't have to be a Christian to join into our practice. If you want to deepen your spiritual connection, if you're seeking a relationship with some kind of higher power with God, then all are welcome. And this practice is meaningful and powerful wherever you are in that spectrum. But I wanted to just quickly share a story about Jesus and kind of what drove him, and just to think about what that would mean for us today. And it comes from the Gospel of Matthew in the 9th chapter, and it's verses 35 through 38 if anyone wants to follow. But it says there that Jesus went through all the towns and villages, teaching in their synagogues, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom, and healing every disease and sickness. And when he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them, because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. And then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest field." So a couple things as I was looking at this passage that I was thinking about. One, I noticed that a lot of Jesus' activity was not in a church building per se, but out in the community, out where the people were going town to village, rivers, lakesides, mountains, all of that. So to be a spiritual person, or to use the word church, is not just something that happens in a facility or a compound. But it's anywhere we go and anywhere we try to live for Jesus. Church can happen in those spaces, and that's actually where Jesus spent most of his time. But he also went to those religious centers as well. But the thing that really struck me is Jesus sees the crowds. He sees the people. And so his orientation, what he's looking at, what he's noticing is the people. And he sees the people's need, that they're harassed and helpless, and that they're going through struggles, and even uses the language of sheep without a shepherd. So it seems like no one's leading them, no one's caring for them, which is also a statement about the religious leaders of the day, right? That probably weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. But he had compassion. And this is an interesting word, splamikchimai in the Greek. And it's literally this word that means a turning in the bowels. He's moved. To feel compassion is to be, your inner world is kind of rocked, and you're moved toward the need that you see in your other, or in another person, or in this case, crowds of people. So what motivated Jesus, this word compassion, it's a really important word. for followers of Jesus. And I wonder sometimes when we look out in our world today, and there's all kind of, struggles and things that we could talk about, but do we see our brothers and sisters of all colors and all races and all religions and all orientations? Do we feel that same sense when we see somebody hurting or sick or in pain or experiencing poverty or experiencing homelessness? Do we feel the compassion? Are we moved to action and to give ourselves to that like Jesus was? And part of my intention today, what I'm going to think about as Karen leads us, is I want to have that same compassion that Jesus had. I want to be moved by that love for other people. And it's easy to get in a place where that can become jaded in us, and it can become something that gets diminished as we go through kind of a traumatic time right now in the pandemic and a movement for racial equality and all those things. So we can kind of get hard over time, our hearts. And I want to have my literally the word, my guts shaken up, moved, turning in the bowels. I want to be shaken up for the need of others. I want to have that same compassion that Jesus had. And I think, again, that has to start inside of us. So we can't give what we don't have, and we have to do that inner work to be transformed inside, that we feel that love and that compassion for others in a pretty loveless, compassionless society before we can then go and share that and make an impact in our world. So I see the practice of yoga as a time to really work on myself, to clean out the chatter and all the laundry list of stuff. And as I'm putting my body in these postures and praying, I'm asking the Holy Spirit to diminish me so that I can experience the Holy Spirit and have my inner soul kind of cleansed and centered in the compassion of Jesus. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to turn it over to Karen now.
All righty. Well, welcome to yoga. Let us start by sitting in a comfortable position. Maybe your legs are folded, or maybe you just have a little bend in your knees. Close your eyes and just begin to breathe and begin to relax your mind and your body, your spirit, and even your breath. So just be aware of your breath as you breathe and close your eyes. And begin to clear your mind of all the clutter and just open up a little space in your mind. And maybe you will find an intention for today. Maybe you can use Michael's intention too, the intention of wanting to have more compassion for others. So let us just be still and breathe. And then we can take our breath to another level, keeping our eyes closed, inhaling as deep as you can and through the nose, all the way down deep into your belly. And then exhale through your mouth all the old air out of your body, renewing the old air for new air. And returning our breath to our normal breath, in through the nose and out through the nose. Let's open our eyes. Take your arms out long with your palms up. Inhale to float the hands up, and exhale, hands over, heart center, and namaste. Inhale to float the hands up, reaching the hands out long, floating the fingertips down to your mat. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And know that if you're someone that can't come down to the floor, and we did show a chair practice, You can do most of these moves right in the seat of your chair. So with that, be sure to listen to your body and don't do anything that doesn't feel right. And know that this is really your practice this morning. So let it be a practice that helps your body feel renewed and restored by the end of your practice. And listen to your body. And one more big breath. Inhale. Exhale, reach your arms out nice and long as we go into our side stretches up and over. So we lift as high as we can for strength and then over for flexibility. Let your breath guide your movement. One more big side stretch. Just resting your hands by your side as we do some shoulder shrugs with breath. Inhale to shrug the shoulders up and exhale to push them down. Inhale up and exhale down. Inhale and exhale. And now we can take it right into some big shoulder rolls to the back, lifting your heart, lifting your gaze, moving the shoulders up towards the ears and around to the back, opposing internal rotation. Let's do some external rotation. As we go through our day, we tend to internally rotate, whether it's computer work or dishes or whatever we do, we tend to internally rotate. So let's externally rotate, breathing with each big shoulder roll. One more big shoulder roll up and around and down. Keeping your shoulders down away from your ears. Can you grow as tall as you can through the crown of your head as we prepare for some neck stretches? Inhale to let the left ear lobe fall towards the left shoulder with a heavy head. And exhale to slowly lift the head back up. And looking over your right shoulder with breath. Inhale to look over the shoulder. Exhale to come back to the center, growing tall once again as we let our right earlobe fall towards our right shoulder with breath. And on the next breath, lifting the head up, sitting up tall as you slowly look over your left shoulder with breath. Inhale and exhale. How tall can you sit as you drop your chin to your chest to stretch the back of the neck? Let your head be heavy here and breathe. And with your chin on your chest and your eyes closed, let your spine go. Just let your rib cage cave in. Let your shoulders round forward. Let your head get heavier and heavier as your spine rounds, creating more space between each vertebra, releasing any tension you're feeling in your upper back or your lower back. Inhale, and on the exhale, slowly roll your chin up towards your left shoulder. And when you get there, go as tall as you can as we go into our half neck circles in slow motion. Inhale to drop the chin to the chest, rounding the spine. On the exhale, bringing the chin up to the right shoulder and growing tall through the spine. Inhale, bringing the chin to the chest. Exhale, bringing the chin up to that left shoulder. And one more half neck shoulder. Inhale. And exhale, stay nice and tall. Bring your gaze back to the center. And let's bring the soles of our feet together. You can come out here or you can bring it in close for a seated butterfly or seated cobra. Maybe you wiggle to get a little closer. Grab onto your shins or your knees or your ankles, whatever feels good for you. And sit as tall as you can. And from here, we can take it to another level, a little more challenging if you wish. Let your elbows float over your inner knees, tuck your chin, and let your nose fall towards your feet slowly. Pressing gently on your knees, opening up the lower back, and try to relax the shoulders. Breathe 3 breaths here. On the next breath, slowly round the spine back up to tall spine, stacking one vertebra on top of the other as you lift your gaze. Go on and straighten out that right leg as you lift your left knee up. As we go into some spinal rotation, it's okay to cross your foot over if that feels better. You can grab your opposite forearm or elbow around that front knee to get taller, and then slowly rotate around to your left with breath. Inhale as deep as you can, feeling the rib cage expand, and exhale. And again, inhale. Exhale, slowly coming back around to the center as we move into half cow face. So you're just going to take that left heel towards the right hip, stacking your knees. Now this is called half cow face. If you want more, and this is where you should really learn to listen to your body, don't do it if it doesn't feel good. You're going to go in and take that back heel back towards your left hip. So this is full cow face. Either one works, half or full. Sit nice and tall, and then we can add to it with some arms reaching up to the ceiling. Inhale and exhale, squeezing your biceps against your temples. Drop your prayer hands behind your head, behind your neck. Support your head with your arms and slowly lift your gaze and lift your heart. Inhale to come back to the center, reaching the hands up and slowly dropping the hands down to your mat. Leaning back with a long spine. Let's go and straighten our legs, but keep them crossed for a cross-legged staff pose. Inhale to float the arms all the way up if that feels good for your shoulders. And then hinge, just hinge forward 2 or 3 inches and breathe. So you can stay here for 3 breaths as you reach and stretch, or if your spine allows you to forward fold, contraindicated if you're over 65, begin to forward fold, reaching your hands towards your toes and letting your chest just drop down to your thighs, letting your nose float towards your knees. You can bend your knees a little, or maybe with each breath, you try to straighten your knees. On the next breath, we're going to slowly roll that spine back up to tall spine, stacking one vertebra at a time. Uncross the legs, go in and pull that right knee in. You can stay here or cross it over for spinal rotation. Now, I like to point my long leg foot, the toes up towards the ceiling to ground that leg. So that's up to you if that feels good for you. You can go in and take your opposite arm or elbow around that knee to get nice and tall as you rotate around to your right. Be sure to lift your heart, lift your gaze, and breathe deep, especially on the inhale. The inhale can help you to expand the lungs and the rib cage and the spinal rotation. Inhale, and on the exhale, slowly come back around to the center as you straighten that leg, but keep your legs crossed as we go into a crossed leg staff pose. Maybe you bring your arms out to the side or reach up to the ceiling and then hinge forward with a long spine. Maybe you stay here, or maybe it feels good for you to forward fold. Do what feels best for your body and breathe. Inhale, and on the exhale, slowly round the spine back up to tall spine, uncrossing the legs. We're going to transition onto our hands and knees. And today we're going to skip the seated cat and cow, but if that feels better for you than coming to your hands and knees, you can round and lengthen your back in a seated position. Otherwise, a kneeling cat and cow, very important that your alignment is correct so that your wrists are under your shoulders. And your wrists, knees, and feet are all in one straight alignment. Let's start with cat pose. So you're going to nod your chin, look at your belly, round your spine like a Halloween cat. Pull your belly into your spine, round through the back. Maybe even lifting up that space between your shoulder blades. And then we move into cow pose. We'll go slowly for the first one. Soften the elbows, the wrists, and the shoulders as the belly falls towards the earth. Little arch of the back if that feels good. Lift your gaze, lift your heart. Inhale, filling your lungs up with air. On the exhale, slowly round back into cat pose. So imagine your spine is like a wave. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Let's hold that cat pose as we go into big hip circles, letting your hips sway out to the right, down over the right heel, the left heel, and all the way back up to the center. And then switch the direction of your hip circles. So again, we're just loosening up any joints, especially the hip joints here. Be sure that your wrist and your elbows are soft as you circle your hips slow and big. And one more big hip circle. And now we'll drop into a child's pose, dropping your buttocks to your heels. It's extended, so walk your hands away from your shoulders. Dropping your forehead and your elbows to your mat. Let us just take a little time here to breathe. Maybe think of your intention here. Inhale and exhale, come back to your hands and knees. We're going to move into downward dog and into our vinyasa flows. So if downward dog is not something for you, if you have glaucoma or high blood pressure or herniated disc, then you would just use the child's pose as an option. Otherwise, tuck your toes under, lift your knees, lift your sits bones. Let your eyes go to your knees or your belly. Reach your sits bones as high as you can, pressing the earth away with the balls of the feet and the heels of the hands. Nice stretch here. This is a good time to be aware of where the weight in your body is. So we don't want all our weight on our poor wrist. So be sure to transition your weight through your whole body from your heels of your hands to your heels of your feet. And then we can press that right heel down, bending the left knee. Then press the right heel down, bending the left knee. And continue with prancing. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. This time, try to press both heels down towards the mat as you reach your sits bones just a little higher. And breathe a couple of breaths here as you continue to press the heels towards the mat. And then we're going to transition into plank, our first vinyasa. So you're going to lift your heels as high as you can so that it helps you drop your shoulders over your wrist. Now you can drop your knees because that can be a rather challenging pose here, plank pose. It's better to pike up than to sag down. So make sure your body is nice and straight. If you feel any awkwardness in your lower back or pain, you absolutely need to just drop your knees and take that tension off the lower back, or you can pike up just a little. So I know a lot of my friends and a lot of people that I know do have back issues, and it's very important to listen to your back. This should help you strengthen your back. So it strengthens your core, but you do need to listen to your body, and you should not work through any pain. So this is plank pose. From there, we're going to just slowly lower our entire body down to the mat. Fingertips are in alignment with the shoulders, elbows are squeezing in, uncurl the toes. We're going to move into Cobra Pose, but before you do, know that your lower back disc will compress. So again, if you have any lower back issues, you can stay here. Maybe you just lift an inch or two like an infant would lift in a crib, their chin or their chest. Or maybe you can come a little higher, listen to your body, and only come as high as it feels good for you. So Cobra Pose is a very restorative pose, and it should feel good. So let's just hold our Cobra Pose for 3 breaths here. Relax the shoulders. And on the next breath, we're going to move right back into our extended child's pose, where maybe you stay Or maybe you come back into downward dog for our second vinyasa. Again, transitioning your weight through your whole body. Let's begin our prancing or pedaling, whatever you want to call it. One heel comes down, then the other. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Exhale, both heels press down as the sits bones press up. Maybe you walk your hands a little closer towards your toes to get even more stretch. It's always fun to try to challenge your body to do just a little more each week without going past that point where you feel something that doesn't feel right. And from there, you can lift your heels, drop into your plank with your knees down, or maybe you keep your knees up. You can go back to Cobra. You can stay in Child's Pose. It's wonderful to do this in your home because you can really do anything you want, right? All right, so from here, we have a challenging pose, Chaturanga. So you're going to squeeze your elbows in and just hover your body. It's like a push-up without going all the way down. And then when you can't hold your Chaturanga anymore, go on and just let it down and come into Cobra. Or maybe you hold that Chaturanga just a little bit longer. Try to challenge your core here and breathe. And from here, we're going to move right back into that Child's Pose, but only for one breath, unless you're staying in Child's Pose. If you're going into downward dog, want to join me? And here we go, pressing one heel down then the other. Maybe doing it with breath. Inhale, exhale. Shh. 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 Pressing both heels down, breathing, reaching the sits bones up high. As we move into our third vinyasa, we move into plank first. So lift the heels. It helps you drop the shoulders right over the wrist. Pull your belly into your spine. Stay strong in your plank. Shh. 2 more breaths. You can always bring your knees down and drop down to the mat if you need to. Try to pull your belly into your spine and think strong here. Shh. Sometimes meditating on your intention during these holding poses is just one way to get a little bit deeper into that intention. All right, so from here, we're going to move into up dog, or maybe you go into Cobra. Uncurl the toes and slowly float the hips towards the mat without letting them actually touch the mat. Lift your gaze and lift your heart and breathe. Inhale on the exhale, go on and drop your knees, come back into Child's Pose. Maybe you stay there, or maybe you come right back into that downward dog, moving right into your prancing. One heel and the other, using your breath to guide your movement. Shh. 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 Both heels coming down, and lifting the heels up, coming into full plank. And here we go, another challenge. So you can drop your knees to do this next plank, but we're just going to rotate to the side for a side plank. So your knee can be down or it can be up. Now, try to keep your neck in alignment with your spine and breathe. Coming back to center plank and back into downward dog, or maybe you go into Child's Pose. From here, we're going to do our prancing. Right heel, left, inhale, exhale, inhale. Exhale, both heels coming down. Lifting the heels up, coming into your full plank. Maybe you drop your knee and turn to the side, or maybe your knee stays up. It's your plank, it's your practice. Let it be challenging, but let it feel good. And then go on and rotate back down to center plank. Drop your knees. And we're going to go into a full Child's Pose traditional. Big toes come together, knees separate. Forehead comes down to a block or to your mat as your hands come back by your ankles with your palms up. Let us breathe 3 breaths here. the next breath, come on back to your hands and knees. We're going to come up to a standing position. For those of you that can't do downward dog, I know that you have ways to come up to standing, so find that way. But otherwise, let's come up into downward dog. And if you're standing, you want to do a forward fold. So from downward dog, you can either hop forward or walk forward into a standing forward fold. Just hanging down like a rag doll. For those of you that were not in downward dog and you came up to standing, you can just forward fold and hang down there. Make sure that the crown of the head is facing the mat so that you can protect your neck and your lower back. You can bend your knees and just hang your arms down. Just let them relax. Maybe you straighten your legs with each breath. And from here, we're going to soften our knees, flip your palms forward. This is a reverse swan. So reverse swan, it's like you're taking a load, a big heavy load. Maybe it's a load of love, of grace, of compassion. Reach all the way up to the heavens and bring your heart over, your hands up, heart center. Let's do just a couple more swan dives to warm up our core temperature. So work with your breath and make sure that you soften your knees and work with your body. So soft knees. Inhale to float the hands up. Exhale to swan dive down. Hands can be to the knees or the ankles. Flip the palms. Inhale up. And exhale, hands over, heart center. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale, hands over, heart center. And one more swan dive. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale, hands over, heart center. Now turn and face the long side of your mat. We're going to go into our balance poses, and from there we'll go into our warrior flow. So balance poses, I like to do tree pose every week so you can kind of monitor your success and how much better you're doing each week. I know some days are better than others, and that's okay. Now if you have a mat that's cushy, it's going to make it harder. So you might want to step on a harder floor surface, or maybe you want more challenge. Maybe you want the unlevel mat to challenge your balance a little more. So we start by lifting up our left heel, letting it sit against our right inside ankle. Pull your belly into your spine. Now this is the most important time that you can use your intention to help you stabilize. So think about that. Maybe you stay here and close your eyes, which is very challenging. Or maybe you challenge your tree pose balance. The bigger the challenge, the deeper the strength and the confidence and the passion for whatever your intention is. Maybe you want to become a tall tree today. Maybe a tall tree with lots of branches. Maybe just a flat trunk. Inhale, and on the exhale, just relax the hands. As we move into standing camel, you bring your hands right behind your lower back. Squeeze your elbows together. Press your hips forward. Now, if you're over 60, it's contraindicated to roll your head back because of your neck. So maybe you just gaze down to the floor. But if you're someone that can, press the hips forward and lift the gaze. Inhale, on the exhale, come on back to standing. Inhale, the arms up and hands over, heart center, as we move into tree pose on the other side. So lifting up your right heel. You can keep your big toe down if that helps. Pull your belly into your spine and grow through the crown of your head. Find a spot to focus on your attention, and breathe. Be aware of your breath here. Exhale, going to release. Let's go into mountain pose just for a few breaths. So palms are forward, arms are hanging down, relax. Shoulders are down away from the ears. Close your eyes and feel the connection of your feet to the earth. Pressing all four corners of the soles of your feet into your mat. Mountain pose, sturdy and strong. And breathe. Inhale, on the exhale, open your eyes. Inhale to float the hands all the way up. Exhale, hands over, heart center. We're going to move into our warrior series, and we are going to do it more in a flow style, so it'll be a little bit quicker. So know that you can stay in whatever warrior pose feels good for you. If you feel that you're not stable, you can also sit in a chair and do all the arm movements, and that feels good. That's very restorative. So inhale to float the hands up. Exhale, arms go out to a T. This is standing straddle split. This just feels good. It's just a long arm stretch, long leg stretch. We're going to go into a good morning stretch pose, hinge halfway over. Let your eyes gaze down to the floor. You're only halfway over, so your nose doesn't go below your hips. Maybe you stay here. Or we can go into revolving triangle. You're going to drop your left fingers under your chest onto the mat. Maybe the whole hand comes in flat. And float your right arm up along with your gaze. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Come back into good morning pose as we drop the right fingers, right hand down to the mat. Floating the left hand up along with your gaze. Inhale and exhale. And go on and try to float both hands down. Now, it's okay to have your hands on a block. You can bring the floor closer to you. Maybe you have a pillow. There are a number of things that you can use here. Go on and tuck your chin and look through your legs. Excellent. Now, if you want to take this straddle split to another level, you can take your big toes out and your heels out. Get your feet as wide as you can. Drop to your elbows and just rest the crown of your head on the arms and breathe. Let's go in and straighten out our arms. You could take your heels in, big toes in, heels, toes, until your feet are about 2 fists apart. We're going to go into a chair pose here, and then we'll move right into our warrior. So bend your knees, float your arms up, pull your belly into your spine, and breathe. Inhale, exhale. Float the arms all the way around until your hands are over your heart center. Separate your feet once again. And we're going to turn our right foot out to the side. Bend your right knee a little or a lot. Float your arms up to the ceiling and then open them out to a T. And then rotate your upper body to look down that right arm. So ideally your wrist would be over your ankles. Take a look and see. It's just directional. Sometimes we have to work on that, and that's okay. Peaceful warrior, take your back hand to the back leg, and the front arm comes up and over towards the back. Only to move right into side angle, dropping the elbow on the thigh, reaching the back hand up to the ceiling along with your gaze. Or maybe you gaze down to your big toe. That's a little bit easier. That would be a modification. Maybe you want more, slide your hand down to your mat. Maybe you gaze up and breathe. Coming back into warrior two, only to move right back into peaceful warrior. And from peaceful warrior, as we straighten out that right knee, we go into triangle, bringing the right hand to the thigh or the shin, gazing down to the big toe. Or maybe you want more, you gaze up and breathe. And then from here, coming back into peaceful warrior. And then back into warrior two, and then rotate so both arms come over the shoulders into warrior one. Stay here or join me for a little more of a challenge, lifting up that back left heel, turning the left foot, crescent lunge, hinging over into runner's lunge. Excellent. Now maybe you want more. You can take that left hand and rotate over to the side, reaching up, inhale and exhale. And then just dropping your hand back down, straddling the front foot as you slowly reach back up into Crescent Lunge, and then into Warrior One, and then back into Standing Straddle Split. Let us move into our warriors on the other side. I'm just going to scoot over a little bit. Going to turn your left foot out to the side, bending your left knee. Try to stack your shoulders over your hips. Rotate to look down your left hand. And then slowly go into Peaceful Warrior, maybe up and over. And then from here, we're going to go right into side angle. So you're going to transition that left elbow onto that left thigh. Reach your back hand up. You can gaze down to your big toe or up to your hand. You can take it to another level, dropping your hand down to your inside ankle. From here, we're going to go right back into Peaceful Warrior, so up and to the back. And then as we move into triangle and you straighten out that left knee, go ahead and take your left hand to your thigh or your shin, gazing down to your big toe. Maybe up for a little more challenge. Then bending that left knee and coming back into Peaceful Warrior. Excellent. And then coming back into Warrior Two. And then Warrior One. You want to take your back arm forward, reach up, lifting up your back heel and turning your back foot. Crescent Lunge. Maybe you want more, you can drop that inner hand down as you rotate out to the side. Excellent. Dropping that top hand down and straddling that front foot for a nice runner's lunge. And then floating the hands back up to Crescent Lunge. And then Warrior One. And then back to Standing Straddle Split. Inhale up, exhale hands over. Heart center. So we're going to take our big toes in, heels, toes, heels. Now maybe you stay here, close your eyes, and just focus on your intention. Or you can join me for a deep yoga squat. So in the yoga squat, you drop right down. Feet should be flat if you can. Use your elbows to open up your knees. Close your eyes and breathe. If you're in that yoga squat, go and drop your hands down. Swing your heels out as you roll up into standing, one vertebra at a time. Inhale to float the hands up, and exhale, hands over, heart center. Go ahead and bring your feet together and come to the front of your mat. As you reach your hands up as high as you can for a nice stretch. Forward fold down, fingertips in front of the toes, and step back into downward dog once again. Or maybe you drop to your knees and go into child's pose. So I like to try to throw out a new pose each week. I don't think we've done Dolphin. So Dolphin is downward dog but with your elbows down. Nice stretch here. They use this in shoulder therapy, this pose. So if you have shoulder issues, this should feel good. And then drop to your knees. Come back to your hands and knees. And let's just wiggle our hips side to side. Now we're going to transition back to our buttocks with our feet out in front. I like to just cross my ankles and roll back, but you can swish your feet around if that's works out for you. And go and bend your knees. Feet are flat. Pull your heels in close. Sit as tall as you can, a little posture pose here. See how tall you can grow through the crown of your head. Pull your belly into your spine. Take your hands behind your knees, behind your thighs, and roll past your tailbone. Now we're going to round our spine. Look at your belly, kind of like that cat back, right? And then from here we'll move into boat pose. One leg comes into tabletop and then the other. So remember, it's your boat. So maybe you straighten your legs. Maybe you reach your hands. Maybe you just bring your hands to the floor. Breathe. Maybe you keep your hands by your legs. Try to hold your boat pose for 3 more breaths. Excellent. Going and hinge forward, dropping your feet as we hold onto our legs to transition onto our spine. Roll past your tailbone. Lift up your feet. Pull your knees into your chest. Drop your head to your mat and gently rock your knees side to side. So our final practice of Savasana, you can do in many different positions. So think about what is the position that will keep you the most relaxed. Because the more you can relax, the more energy that will flow through your body, the more your intention will come into your life. So we can have our legs up the wall, or you can drop your feet, let the soles of the feet come together with your knees apart. Pressing your soles of the feet together, maybe pressing your lower back into the mat to protect the back. So supine butterfly, or maybe you just straighten your legs. Do let your arms go out to a T with your palms up, and then just close your eyes and melt into your mat. So just lay down, very comfortable, melting into your mat and just being still. Take this time for yourself. And just breathe. Trying to relax your mind and your body and your spirit. Letting peace come into your whole totality of your mind, body, and spirit. This is how it's done. Just being quiet, being still, listening to your heart, and relaxing. So keeping your eyes closed, I'm going to move through the body to help you relax all parts of your body as you continue to relax your thoughts and your breath and your spirit. So relax your toes and the balls of your feet, the arches of your feet, your heels, your calves, the backs of your knees and the backs of your thighs, your buttocks, your back, your lower back and your middle back, your upper back, your shoulders, your arms, the insides of your elbows, the insides of your wrist, the palms of your hands. Let your palms face upward, relaxing your fingers and your thumbs. Just let them fall where they fall naturally. Relax your hip bones and your pelvis, your belly, your rib cage, your chest. Relax your neck and your scalp. All the muscles in your face. Just relax them. Relaxing your forehead and your eyebrows, your eyelids, even your cheekbones and your nose, your chin, your ears, your earlobes. Relax your teeth. Unclench them. Let them part. Let your tongue fall away from your teeth. Relax your lips and just be. And breathe. Maybe go into that purifying breath with your eyes closed here. Inhaling so long and so deep that your tummy rises high. Pause. And then exhale a long exhale through your mouth. Exhaling all that old air out of your body. Renewing the old air for new air. Inhale deep. Maybe make that shh sound as you exhale. And again, inhale. And exhale. And one more purifying breath as we return to normal breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Let us open our hearts and let our hearts be filled with love, gratitude, and grace and compassion. And as we close our practice and roll over onto our sides, if that's comfortable for you, maybe in a fetal position, representing renewal and rebirth. And then we're slowly going to come up to a seated position the way we started our practice, but with our eyes closed, as we open up this time for prayer request. So you can jot down your prayer, type it in, yell it out, or you're all praying together in the spirit. So let us pray for each other, whatever your prayer requests are. I'm sorry about the yapping dog back there. Apparently the yard man has come and, well, I'm at my mother's house and anyway, sorry about that. So let us open our eyes, take your arms out with your palms up. And I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope that you feel renewed and restored and that you find more compassion in your heart for others around you. Inhale to float your hands up. Exhale, hands over heart center, and namaste.
Well, thanks for joining, everybody. We're going to close with the Lord's Prayer today. Thank you, Karen. Everybody out there who's joined us, can you show some love to Karen, some emojis, some likes, and some loves, or just type it in the comments, whatever feed you're on. And not this next Friday, but the following Friday, we'll just have conversations. We'll just put a Zoom link. So after yoga, we'll just have a spiritual conversation following, and anybody can join. Margaret's lifting up a praise for her mother who had a total hip replacement and is doing very well. Thanks be to God. And we got some thank you Karens coming in. And thank you, everybody, for joining with us. We appreciate having you with us. So let me say the Lord's Prayer and we'll close out. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Amen. Friends, we invite you to share this out on your social media with anybody who you think would benefit from this time of yoga and prayer and meditation. And we'll be back next Friday, same time, same place. Again, thank you all for joining. Shalom.